going on, all you savages out there? This is your boy, the big guy, and listen to the unkept, uncut, gnarly as hell podcast in the world, Shooting the Breeze with the big guy. Hey, what's going on, guys? Back at it again with yet episode number 4 of Shooting the Breeze with the Big Guy, titled "We're Not Gonna Take It." Hit song by Twisted Sister, and there's a story behind that why title is this. I'll tell it to you at the end of this podcast episode. But there are a lot of things I want to talk about. Why it's called what it is, and NBA Finals game, Stanley Cup Finals, and I want to talk about those two big games. A lot of stuff happening with my Houston Rockets and Minnesota Vikings, Star Wars. There's a few things I want to mention, but I should say not a few things, but one thing. And then big professional wrestling stuff happening on Stomping Grounds, WWE All Out, or All In. I should know what it's called before I do this. AEW, so, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is, big sports games tonight between, Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Toronto Raptors versus Golden State, and then Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, the final game of the 2018-2019 season of the NHL between Boston Bruins and St. Louis Blues. Big game, final game. Let's see how that goes. Let's begin with that. Game 6, it's a must-win for Toronto because, they had an opportunity last game, and they came back from being down 12, and, like always, like anyone, Kyle Lowry had to shoot the three-pointer to win by 2. Everyone's got to shoot the 3, and everyone's going to make a big deal about it. A three-pointer, he made 4 three-pointers. Who cares? Seriously, how many did they miss? That's the thing. I don't get that. They talk, you talk about Houston Rockets, my Houston Rockets, I should say. They're setting records, breaking their own records. Yeah, but look at, compare how many they made to how many they miss. And it's so, there's such a big gap between that it makes no sense because it's all about how, being successful with what you're shooting and how many you're making. The percentage. It has to be a good percentage, an efficient percentage, I should say. And if Toronto just went with the 2-pointer, scored right there with I'm forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting his name? Why am I forgetting the guy's name? I'm forgetting his name. This is sad. But they just went by, if they just scored a 2-pointer, then they would have won the game. Then they would have had the Larry O'Brien trophy crossing over the border. But no. So, we'll see how that goes. But no, they have to win it. They have to limit turnovers. They can't let Golden State get on hot streaks because once that happens and they don't stop it, then there's no stopping them. And and that shows last night. They were down by 12. They came back, and like I said, they blew it. So they got to limit the amount of threes, you could say. Actually, no, that is what they should do. Limit the threes, limit the turnovers that Toronto makes themselves. Don't foul as much. Let them foul you. Just don't let them get on hot streaks. It's just basic stuff that any schmuck like myself could say, but it's even hard to do even at that level because some don't get it. And this is a huge game. Last game was pretty big, but this is even bigger. And if they don't win this, then Golden State's got an even better chance of winning the finals. It's just, you can't choke against this team when you're up big. And it'll be interesting to see. It's at 8 o'clock tonight. Or no, 9 o'clock, I believe. Because then the next game, the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7, Boston Bruins and St. Louis Blues. That's at 8. So you got 2 games to watch, one after another. Or at the same time. Hockey, I'm sure, is not going to go for just an hour. So you got 2 games to watch at once. But that one, see, I'm not a big hockey fan, so I can't really talk about hockey. But this is a big game for Boston and New England itself. And if they want to bring Boston sports back into the limelight, then they got to win it. You could say, well, yeah, New England won it. Yeah, but New England's always in the New England Patriots are always in the Super Bowl or in the AFC Championship game. So you never really can bet against them. You never say, oh yeah, it's a down season that they're not going to win. Brady should retire. He sucks. He's awful. They end up winning. Look at this year. So. The Boston Bruins, they've had a lot of down years since the last time they won it. So they win tonight, then it'll prove that Boston's one of the top teams again, or top sports cities, I should say again. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Big news with Miami Heat and my Houston Rockets. Houston's, like I said earlier in the last couple episodes, they're really looking to shop everybody around, and so they can really have that true super team to win an NBA title again, like Golden State. And I just read that Miami Heat, they're looking at 3 players from the Rockets. Chris Paul, my one of my favorites, PJ Tucker, I should say is my favorite, one of the favorites on the team, and Eric Gordon. And it's I could see PJ Tucker or Eric Gordon, but not Chris Paul. Cause see Chris Paul, he's getting older. He's in his mid 30s, and he's not slowing down, but he's not producing high stuff like he used to. And he usually gets a double double every other game, every couple games, but like it's just he's not worth it anymore. To be the star player of the team. He can be the second player, but look at Houston. James Harden is the leader of the team, the star of the team. No one's taking that out of him. And I think it only worked in LA of him being on the team because they had three big guys. You had Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and why am I forgetting his name? Let's see. Why am I forgetting his name? I should know this guy's name. But anyways, they had three guys at the top. So they had a trifecta of three guys being in charge, and I think that works out the best because you don't have to carry the load so much. And Chris Paul thinks he has to, I believe, and it's just he's not worth a huge contract anymore. I think 15, 20 million a year is worth, and not 30 plus. It's just he's not worth that anymore. I think they need to get their shit together, the team, the Rockets, because now they got to run the team together. If not three with Clint Capella, Chris Paul, and James Harden. So whereas PJ Tucker, he is a little older. He's a few years younger than Chris Paul, obviously, but I think where he is in Houston, I think it's just a great spot, especially he's starting. He's just a great player. I mean, he's not amazing. He's not one of the top in his positions by far, but he's just a well-rounded player where he can provide at least 10 points, a couple rebounds, assists, and stuff. But just defensively, he's such a great player, and it's unfortunate he didn't make an all-defensive team at all. But I think he should stay, and I think Eric Gordon is young enough where he could go to Miami and help him a little bit. But I think he's in a good spot too with Minnesota, Houston, and he even said that he wants to finish out his career in Houston, and that tells you about the commitment he has to this team and the betterment of them. So I think that Miami's in a good spot looking for big players like this, and they could get someone of PJ Tucker or I guess Chris Paul and Eric Gordon's skill level, but pedigree, I should say, that's a better word. But I don't think Chris Paul should go to Miami. And PJ Tucker, I would like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I would be upset because we'd miss that big defensive player that's on a consistent basis each time he's playing. But then I wouldn't mind. Like it'd be a good fit, I guess you could say. You could be the veteran leadership that team's looking for because they have a lot of young blood on the Heat team, and Eric Gordon would be a good spot too. But I think Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker should just stay with Houston because it's just such a good fit for both of them. There's Chris Paul, I don't care. Another thing I want to talk about is the Pelicans. They're still in the news. They're going to be in the news for a while, in the sports news at least, with Anthony Davis. And I just think honestly he should just stay because look what you have here. You have Drew Holiday first of all. Then you have Zion Williams. If you stay, then you have Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, who's a great player, and Zion Williams, one of the top in his position and one the best. He's definitely gonna win Rookie of the Year for me personally. And you just got three great players right there, and you could do some damage in the West. You could do some heavy damage and maybe even make the playoffs. I'll say not the top three, but I say maybe 6 or 7. Definitely at least 8, probably 7, maybe 6, maybe 5. That's pushing it though. But you could do some heavy damage. Not heavy damage, but you could do some damage in the West. And I think he should stay, do a 2-year deal, and see how that goes. But he shouldn't trade it. Like LA doesn't need him. Like that's the thing. Like sure they need one more piece, but no, I don't want them to be the super team. Like there's enough super teams as it is. Like there's only needs to be one super team. I mean, granted, actually no, I would want 2 teams. I'd want 2 super teams, one in each league, or at least 2 in each league, just because it makes it more interesting. Because I hate seeing Golden State win year after year, and it's so annoying. And I hate a lot of the players on the team. And I think Houston. I read an article online. I'll have to find it again, but Houston making a deal for Anthony Davis. That's probably not. There's a very small chance of that happening. But I was fiddling around. I only did actually two tries. I did Clint Capella and Eric Gordon for Anthony Davis, and that's not that bad of a deal because Houston, one of my friends, New Orleans would only have like a couple million over. They have like $27 million in contract worth or whatever, and Anthony Davis has got I think $25 million or $24 million. Should only be about a little over $3 million. that's another thing. Clint Capella, why would you want to leave? Like, I could see New Orleans, young blood with you, Drew Holiday, and Zion Williams, or someone like Clint Capella, going to Sacramento. And I read that there were a lot of places for him to go would be young blood. But the thing is, he's just such in a good place with Houston, and it's so developing. I think it was such bullshit and stupid and pathetic for Tillman and Daryl Morey to say, "Oh yeah, we're going to trade everyone besides James Harden and Chris Paul." Chris Paul, it's just yeah, keep him, but I just keep the team. You get guys to build your bench because the bench sucks so much. Like, build your bench, so then you can have better guys there, so you can compete a little bit when you have to sub your starting five out. Like, it doesn't make sense. Build your bench. You get a couple more guys who are pretty good that can sit on the bench and produce quality statistics and numbers. And I don't want to see Clint Capella go, especially to a team like New Orleans who has the potential. And I don't want to see Eric Gordon go. Like, I really, to myself, I don't really care. I mean, like, I'll be upset because he can produce a lot. He doesn't, even though his numbers aren't super high. But yeah, I don't want to see Clint Capella go, and I don't want to see PJ Tucker go. Eric Gordon, I would be upset, but it would be, at the end of the day, it'd be okay because we still have James Harden, Clint Capella, PJ Tucker, Chris Paul. And I think a lot of people out there out in the NBA, it's all about themselves. And if they can't be in charge of the team or do what they want, then they want out to a team that's gonna be bullied by that player. Like, look at whatever team LeBron goes to. And granted, LeBron's way better than Eric Gordon, but LeBron bullies the teams that going. He got Tyronn Lue fired. He got Luke. What am I forgetting his name? Well, whatever. Former head coach of the Lakers that just said. It's sad that I can't remember. But he gets all these coaches to leave, and it's so pathetic because he's not the coach. The players aren't the coaches. They're playing. They're getting paid too much as it is as the players. And the coaches, they're the coaches. They're not playing. They're telling you what to do. And sure, they don't. There really is no need for coaches in the NBA because the players know what to do already. But whatever. So I don't want to see Clint Capella go. Next thing, let's shift over to the gridiron, the old NFL. My Vikings. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news. There was a lot of debate and questioning of Kyle Rudolph was going to return or what was going to happen with him. I love Kyle Rudolph. He's one of my favorite players on the team, and it's unfortunate that he's not getting a lot of touches with the pigskin, as they say, last year and coming up just because he's getting older. But he's very good. The contract, 4 years, $36 million. That's for him personally with the numbers he produced last year in the last couple years. I don't think he's worth it. I think he's probably worth about $20 million. $9 million a year is a lot for someone like himself. I could see if it was someone like, I don't know, that's a little bit bigger, producing better, and producing higher numbers than him, but I like to see him back because he provides veteran leadership. When he gets in the game, he's sort of efficient, but he's out there and helps the team. And I think he's good, especially with a lot of the young guys on the team. And when the team, they lose, because they always lose a bunch of guys defensively. It's like a curse. If you're a good defensive player and you come to this team, you're bound to get injured your first year or two. And I think the numbers for his new contract extension a little too much, but whatever. I think he's in his 30s, and I think, or at least late 20s, but I think he's got a few more years left in him. I think maybe 2, maybe 3, so I don't know if they should have signed for 4, but whatever. We'll see how that goes. I'm happy to see him back. But I was also reading this thing on the Vikings website, vikingspage.com. And it's a good stuff. If you're a Vikings fan like myself and you like reading up about them, it's a good site to use. I recommend it. And they're talking about 5 guys who should have been re-signed before him. I kind of agree. I mean, the first one they had, Trey Waynes, drafted by them, and he hasn't really amazed me the last couple of years he's been on the team. And he hasn't really been produced jaw-dropping numbers that oh yeah, he deserves a big contract. So I mean, I could sign him back for a year or 2 and see how that goes, but I think to let him go would be a better idea personally, just because he hasn't really done anything. I mean, granted, when he's out there, he might do better, but whatever. Or at least find someone who's better than him at the cornerback position and start him over that. Because I know they have a couple guys starting at corner. I know Xavier Rhodes, I'm pretty sure he's a cornerback. I should know this. It's sad that I don't. One time me and a few friends were talking about Minnesota Vikings players, and a friend of mine who wasn't even a Vikings fan knew more players than me. It's just I just like talking about and watching. I don't need to study. I don't need a quiz. I'm not going to some game show to name all the players I know. But I think if they find someone better, who can start over Trey Wayne's at the spot he's at, then and he comes off the bench. It's decent. Stephen Weatherly, I've never heard of this guy before, but I guess he was the backup for Evan Griffin. I'm pretty sure, and I think and so I guess he put up big numbers. I had never heard of him before, and it's nothing down with him or anything. I just never heard of him. I mean, if he produced a good amount for what he did and what he was thrown at with, then we sign him for a small deal. See how that goes. Mackenzie Alexander, I vaguely remember him. I mean, if he's producing, I don't really remember him though. Once again, I don't study the team. I'm not a diehard NFL fan or diehard Vikings fan, but I do like them. But if he produced decent numbers last year, then sign him back. I mean, they do struggle though with defensive positions because they just they always get injured. So I think, yeah, whatever. I mean, David Morgan, that's another guy, tight end. I think he's younger than Kyle Rudolph, obviously. So I actually think they should give him a decent contract. I mean, not humongous, but not small, because they need to build for the future rather than just for today. Another guy I want to talk about, Anthony Harris. They said this was the final guy. He's always been good, and I think they should sign him to not a huge deal, but a decent sized deal, because he's a decent player. He's pretty good. He's helped out the team the last couple years, however long he's been on the team. But I think that's true though. What they said, there are other guys definitely who deserve more of a contract extension than Kyle Rudolph, because by far Kyle Rudolph hasn't produced the same numbers as Anthony Harris or Trey Waynes or some of these other guys on the team, and the same boat as him needing a new contract. The next thing I wanted to talk about was WWE Stomping Grounds. Like I said, I'm a big wrestling fan, and I went to NXT Takeover 25 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, a great show. I went to when it came to URI, where I go to college. It was a great show. Got a lot of high fives from the guys because I was sitting up so close compared to 25, where it was farther back, like really far back. But I want to talk about some of these matches. I'm not sure, they're not on the card yet, so it's subject to change. They'll probably be added soon. But the first match, the WWE Championship rematch, steel cage match between the WWE Champion, obviously Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. And I think with Dolph, he wants to get out, and I don't blame him because he's such a great talent. He can put him in the main event and he do so well, and he's a former world heavyweight champion. I'm pretty sure multiple time Intercontinental U.S. Tag Team Champion. He's just done so great, and I think they just shit the bed with guys like him because he deserves so much, and it's so unfortunate to see him do that. But like I was saying, I think he deserves more. I think he should win the title. I mean, not hold it for a long time, but a short amount of time. And then I think he's better off, outside of WWE, acting, comedy, and he's had I guess, somewhat successful time being a comedian. So if that's what he wants, then let him do that. But I don't like how WWE holds guys back. If they want to leave, let them leave. Like, you shouldn't add more time on the contract or say no. Like, it's so stupid, and everyone likes this. Like Luke Harper, he wants to leave. Great talent. They ruined it with him. Like so many other guys that have left, and he wanted to leave, and he wants to leave, but they added 6 months onto his contract because he was injured and missed the amount of time. And I could see him staying for a little bit, but adding 6 months onto it, again, Triple H not letting him. People make it seem like Triple H is the guy, the soon-to-be savior of the WWE, but he's still an asshole too. I mean, he treated CM Punk poorly, and CM Punk had his things, but Triple H is better off like this. I mean, granted, I don't want to see Stephanie or Shane in charge of WWE. That would be awful. That would be the day WWE professional wrestling itself would die. But I think that Triple H would do better than Vince, obviously, because look at NXT. NXT does phenomenal every time. And I think I would hate to see Kofi Kingston lose the title. But then Dolph Ziggler, I would love to see him tell. Dolph Ziggler obviously won't win it. So Kofi Kingston is obviously I think is going to win it. And it's unfortunate, though, because I really would love to see Dolph Ziggler win the one title that he hasn't won. But whatever, we'll see. But my prediction is Kofi Kingston's going to win it. Next match on here. Actually, no, I missed the first match. Universal Championship, Seth Rollins, that's obviously the champion versus Baron Corbin rematch from WrestleMania. And I'm pretty sure Super Showdown. I'm not 100% positive, but I believe it was that. These two matches, the Universal and WWE Championship, both rematches, and obviously Seth Rollins is going to win. Baron Corbin's not going to win this. I don't know why they're putting him in the picture now. He should have been, like a mid-card champion like Intercontinental U.S. title at least. But I'm pretty sure he won the Intercontinental title. But Baron Corbin's not going to win it, and they ruined it with him too, like they do whenever they call someone up. Besides Seth Rollins, obviously, because only Prince has a thing for muscular, sweaty guys. The next match, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I believe, Shane McMahon, picked up the surprise win over Roman Reigns at Super Showdown when Drew McIntyre interfered, and I think Roman Reigns wins. At least that's what I think. I think Shane McMahon tries to interfere, but Roman Reigns takes him out, and I think the ref gets knocked down, and he takes out Drew McIntyre and beats him. I think Drew McIntyre is not going to win this one. I think this is a good feud, personally, between Shane McMahon. I mean, Shane personally is not a great wrestler or a great character to begin with because he's got nothing as a base. It's like when you are on WWE or like NBA.com or NBA 2K19 and you create like the generic character. Because Shane McMahon's nothing. He's got everything handed to him. He's not a phenomenal wrestler at all. And I think though Roman Reigns beats Drew McIntyre, Drew McIntyre gets pushed down again, gets buried again. Next match, obviously, and all these matches I say they're not in the order they will be on the pay-per-view because the pay-per-view is not going to be happening for another 2 weeks. But I think the next match, Women's title, Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, I think, is going to win. Becky's going to lose. And I really like the Twitter feud Becky Lynch has been having with Edge. It's pretty funny and pretty savage for some of the things they both said to each other. But I think Lacey Evans wins. I think she's a great champ. I think she'd be a great champion. And, even though she didn't win anything in NXT, and they do that a lot, they like to call people up, I should say men and women, not guys. Feminists would go crazy like, did you just say men and not women? Last time I checked, women had men in them. But no, I think Lacey Evans would be a great champion, and beating Becky Lynch would bring the ratings up because Lacey Evans is such a great character, and they're not butchering her, which is good. And I think how they did where she just run in and attack them when they'd be walking down to the ring and not actually wrestle yet, it's pretty cool. And I think what she's been doing with Charlotte Flair against Becky Lynch has been pretty cool too. And I think she's just a good character. I'm sure she's a good-looking lady too. A SmackDown Women's title match, Bayley as the champion versus Alexa Bliss, and they talked about on a Bleacher Report, how Alexa Bliss, part of the wild card thing, which is still confusing. I don't get it. If you're not gonna do the brand split anymore, and you're just gonna give up and shit the bed with it again, then just don't have it, and just have 2 champions, and they just fight on one show, and like they did in the early 2010s. But I mean, I think brand split though, it works. It can work phenomenally. You just gotta do it correctly, and they just have it because you have guys like Shane McMahon who think they're wrestlers and they're not. Like they shouldn't be putting themselves into storylines. And I don't even know who's in charge of Raw. Who is in charge of Raw? I don't know. But whatever. So I think though Alexa Bliss would do better. Bayley just as champion, I don't like her as champion. She doesn't deserve. I don't like her character's too stale. Like it worked at first, but it doesn't seem like you need to reinvent your character. And whether that be just, changing how they act, but still keeping the same thing, that's gonna work. Or just reinvent your character completely. But that has to work too. So I don't like Bayley as champion. It's no offense against her. She's a decent worker. I don't like her as champion. I think Alexa Bliss, she deserves to be champion more times than Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair's dad is fuck buddies with Triple H and Vince McMahon, and I think Charlotte's been given everything she doesn't deserve. 8 championships or 11, whatever episode amount it is. And Alexa Bliss is more of a true champion, and she's fought for her way there, and it's just I'd rather see your champion than Bayley. I don't like Bayley. Sorry, I liked her like a couple years ago. I liked her when she first started off on the main roster. Another match, the Intercontinental title, Finn Balor versus Andrade, Cien Almas is how I know I'm not this bullshit Andrade where Vince McMahon decides, I'm going to chop your names, it's just one name. Shut the hell up. This is a great feud, I think. Personally, at Super Showdown, I think Andrade would have won, but since, Saudi Arabia's got this problem with women being there at the wrestling shows, then I think Finn Balor won. But I think that Andrade would be cool as Intercontinental Champion. He can make it title relevant again, because, all the secondary titles aren't relevant at all now, or the last year or so. And I think it'd be cool for him to win. But I think Finn Balor as champion should stay for a little bit longer, just because he's good with the title. And I think it was a shameful act for him not to have the Universal Championship shot again, or WWE Championship again, because he's a great wrestler, a great worker, can work with anybody. And I think him as a world champion would be awesome. So look what he did with the NXT Championship. So that's their move. They're probably not going to give him a world title shot ever again. But either or, I don't care. But I personally think, I mean, if Andrade's valet will be there, then I think that he could win. But I think Finn Balor is going to win the match. So I see title match, Finn Balor, the champion, is going to beat Andrade to retain the title. Raw Tag Team titles, the rival, I think, versus the Usos, with the Rival being the champion, Usos being the challenger. Obviously, I think the Usos are going to win just because the Revival are on their way out and they want to leave. And I think it's time for them to lose the title and just leave, because it's just half the time they're in the spotlight or they're not. And I think they shit the bed with this tag team too. And I'm glad for them that they're leaving, because they deserve so much more, because they're so great. Look what they did in NXT. So the Usos are going to win. I think they should just axe the whole brand split thing, because it makes no sense. They shouldn't have wild card rule. Like, they shouldn't. Like, the brand split worked so well in the early 2000s, and then it just doesn't work anymore. Like, it was good when they first tried it out, but unfortunately it doesn't. Next thing, next match, SmackDown Tag Team Titles, Daniel Bryan versus Rowan as the champion versus Heavy Machinery. Obviously, this is gonna be almost like a squash match. I think champions are gonna retain, and they're so great as the tag titles, because you can put Daniel Bryan into anything and he's gonna blow it out of the park. He's so great. Good for Rowan, still be relevant, unlike some of his other counterparts that weren't relevant. Now the final match I have on here, the women's tag team title match, the Iconics versus the Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I could honestly care less about this match, not because they're female wrestlers, and there always can be a great female match. And you look at some of the female matches in NXT and on the main roster, some phenomenal matches out there in the history books. I think they're just throwing this match together just because they have made the women's tag titles irrelevant, and I think they had something special with the tag titles for the women's division, but did nothing. So I think the Iconics are going to win this. They're going to keep it. I think they should ride on them, having the longest reign. I think the 24/7 title is going to be defended on the show at some point. Obviously, it's not going to have an actual match. It shouldn't. See, at first it's like, you got to be kidding. The belt looks shitty. The design, I mean, the colors are cool, just how it looks is stupid. But I think the concept of it, like the hardcore title, is just phenomenal. And I think it's the one positive thing with all the viewership being way down and all the other stuff wrong with WWE right now. But I think that's good. And I think that the Cruiserweight Championship is going to be on the pre-show or something. I don't know. It's going to be a few more matches. And I think all these matches listed will either be on the main roster or will be on... Well, some of them won't be on the main roster, or some of them probably won't be defended. But whatever. But yeah, see, the WWE has so much potential to be so good, and especially with AEW being there, and I think they can compete well against each other, and I think AEW will make WWE better eventually once AEW is on actual TV, and I can't wait for that. Hopefully, I'll get cable, when I move back into school into the fall, and I have my own TV so I can watch AEW whenever it is, Monday nights or Tuesdays or Thursdays, whatever it is. But those are my predictions. Once again, the Universal title match, Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. I think Seth Rollins is going to retain Baron Corbin. They ruined it. He lost his opportunity. He's not like main event as he used to be. The WWE Championship match, Kofi Kingston's going to return. I think there's going to be a lot of retaining. I think there's going to be a lot of retaining going on June 23rd at WWE Stomping Grounds. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I think Roman Reigns is going to win. Raw Women's title match. I think Lacey Evans is going to beat the champion Becky Lynch. SmackDown Women's title, I think Alexa Bliss is going to beat Bayley, just because Bayley, I don't like her as champion, neither with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is working a good angle with Edge right now. IC title, Finn Balor versus Andrade. If Andrade has his personal valet there, then he's going to win it, but if he doesn't, then Finn Balor's going to win. So I'm going to pick Finn Balor. Raw Tag Team titles, The Revival, the champions versus Usos. Usos are going to win just because the Revival are done. They've had the bed shat on them so many times by WWE and their officials. SmackDown Tag Team titles, Daniel Bryan and Rowan First Heavy Machinery, Daniel Bryan and Rowan are going to win easily, I should say. Then the final match, the women's tag team titles, Iconics versus Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Iconics obviously going to win. But the main reason, I know I just rushed through that, you probably couldn't understand me. The main reason I want to do this podcast for today is, why it's called We're Not Going to Take It. It's my story and how I met Dee Snider, the lead singer of Twisted Sister. I'm pretty sure the group isn't around any. I believe the group is done. I'm not entirely too sure, but I'm pretty sure they've stopped. They stopped. They went from 1972 to 1988, then took a break, then came back 97 to 98, took another break, then 2001, they came back, and then from 2003 to 2016, I think they finally have called it quits, which is good. Because personally, I don't think a group should be coming back, going and then retiring, then coming back and retiring. Either stay for the whole time or do it and stop. Like, you look at Led Zeppelin, still popular amongst people, but they retired. They had a successful run for the brief time they were, ended on a high note. Some of these bands, they retire, they end on a bad note, so they have to come back, or they end on a bad reason. But it was a few years ago. I was at Universal's with my mom, my two sisters, and a family friend. We go on trips a lot with, and we were at Hard Rock Hotel in Orlando. We were going to Universal. Great. Universal's great. I mean, the first couple times you go, it's okay, but then after a while, it starts to get boring just because it's the same stuff. Whereas Disney, they're always expanding, whether that's good or bad. And I like the original rides at Disney because I went 2000, trying to think, 6, I think, and 2008, I believe, or 2006. Because I had my younger sister. I have two younger sisters. One's sophomore in high school, one's in 7th grade. And I think the one I went in 2006. I had one sister who was 31, who was in my mother's stomach. And so then I went in 2008, and I liked when I went there. Original rides, or the old school rides, were there, and I liked those. And it's unfortunate that I have to take them out because people aren't riding them anymore, or they're too much money to maintain. But I was going to Universal, and I was staying at the Hard Rock Hotel, just checking in. Hadn't done anything else yet. About to go to the theme park, and who appears in a black Mustang with all of his equipment and stuff? Dee Snider. Well, at first we didn't realize it was him. It was a guy in a black ponytail, dressed all in black, obviously. Black shades, black hat, and he's at the front desk checking in. And trying to be sneaky about it. My mother was like, "Hey, I think that's Dee Snider." I'm like, "Hey, that looks like him. That might be him." It's like, So he walks around, and my mom's like, "That is him." So she goes up to him and she goes, "Hey," we go up to him and she's like, "Hey, Dee Snider, we saw it was you, and we wondering if you can get a picture. Big fan," and stuff. We didn't say big fan, but we said, you're also wondering if you take a picture. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, sure. These people here told me to stay away from all these fans taking pictures." And then he comes up to me, and he grabs my neck. And nice guy. I mean, he didn't look like he was in the mood to take a picture, but who would be like that? Just getting to a hotel, grabs me, puts his hand on my neck, and takes a picture, and then he leaves. We say thank you. Then later that day, everyone's saying, "Dee Snider, Dee Snider, Dee Snider." My mother was in the elevator with him. And then someone said they saw him. Then she said she saw him by the pool, and everyone was talking about him. I'm like, "Hi, you motherfuckers! I saw him first. I got a picture of him, and I still have the picture. It's up. It's on my corkboard that I brought to school with my first year this past year, and I love it. It's one of my greatest memories of all time. Besides seeing Rod Stewart and James Taylor and going to WWE NXT Live, I think seeing Dee Snider was one of the highest moments in my life ever, and I'm so happy that I did. And seeing someone like that is just so cool because they stood the test of time for decades and decades and decades. And I was thinking of I think it was August 17th. I was gonna go see the OJs and Kool and the Gang at not Twin River, Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. And that's a big drive for someone like myself to go by myself because I like to go by myself because it's not because I'm lonely. I have no friends because I have plenty of friends, but it's always, I don't know, maybe we'll see. I gotta see. I'm busy. I gotta check with work. Oh, I can't go. It's like, give me a yes or no. I'm not gonna be offended. Sure, I would have loved to go with you if you said yes, but I'm not gonna be offended if you say no. Just say no, and I'll be okay. And also, I like old music, and I hate rap. I was talking to my friend last night, and I'm like, I hate rap. It's awful. It's shitty. It's the same thing. Screwing girls, and doing drugs and drinking. Sure, some of that stuff might be fun, but it's boring. And I think I like old school music. I said, music. Sorry, just mixed up on my words. I just choked right there. Oh god, sorry about that. Like old music from like Frank Sinatra to really anything like a Journey or Aerosmith or AC/DC, something like that. came out with a good song in the 90s and I like it, then we'll listen to it. But really, anything from the 50s, the 90s. So there's like a 40-year period where I like music. And then after that, it just got boring. I'm not saying like all music from all those decades. But and a lot of people don't like the music. They say, oh, it's boring. Oh, I'm going to fall asleep. It's not interesting. But the thing is, it is interesting because it's actual instruments and it's not made a computer. Like, that's all music is made nowadays. Like podcast, I'm talking on my computer, and it's just sorry there. I almost had to burp, but or cough. But I'm looking forward to it, and I was just so excited to see Dee Snider, and it made my day so great, and it's just. So I'm looking forward to it. But I usually last year I went on a cruise, or 2 summers ago I went on a cruise. Last year to Block Island, which was a real fun on Martha's Vineyard, and it was okay. I mean, I went with my family and stuff, and it's so close, and I think it's like when you go somewhere so close, it's not as fun. I mean, and if you can make it fun, it doesn't matter where you are. But I like going farther away, somewhere where you don't go often or rarely at all, or even have gone before. And when I went to Bermuda on the cruise, yeah, I sat around and had a lot of banana loaf for myself a lot. I had so much fun going to Bermuda. It was so fun, and I can't wait to go again. And I think my dad's gonna. I think not all my family, because they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna want to get in Mexico, Turks and Caicos, all because our friends go. And that's the issue my sisters have. When a friends have, it's more my youngest sister, and when their friends have something cool or like really awesome, and they don't have it, and even though we might not be able to afford it, because their friends' parents have money maybe, but like they need to have to fit in, or else they feel like they're lower than them. They need to be at the top, and it's unfortunate how that generation is how it is nowadays. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and I just it's so the OJ's and Cool in the Gang, they were playing August 17th. But I don't know my cruises because my dad doesn't like doing something right away. He's always, oh yeah, I gotta do this, and it's never right then. Like we have this TV like setup thing, this entertainment unit, and we've had it for years, and it's kind of annoying. I agree with that because it has doors, they open and close and stuff like that. He says, oh yeah, I want to get rid of it and get one like my cousins do, where it's just like this stand that I have in my mother's house where the TV goes on and there's drawers you can put stuff in and hold stuff for storage. But he's been saying this for years, like 3 or 4 years, and like he hasn't gotten rid of it. He's done his painted the house and stuff, redone the windows and stuff, but he hasn't gotten rid of this. And he was like, "Oh yeah, tell your boss, I work at the summer camp." And so, tell your boss you're going on vacation. Yeah, I will, but I don't know the dates. I have to know the dates. I can't just say I'm going away in August. Like I need to know the dates and where. Like, that's the thing. Like it's always last minute. It's never right away. Like, you want to go, do it. Go today, meet with her, just get dates, see what works, and that's what you do. So I want to go to Cool in the Gang and the OJ so bad, because I love both groups. But I don't know if I'm available, because I don't know if that's when the cruise is. And so we'll see how that goes. But I'm a big fan of old music, and it's unfortunate that a lot of these guys are retiring or they're dying, because they're so big and so influential in modern music. I'm a big fan of the Shy-Lights, and I'm pretty sure Jay-Z and Beyonce sampled a song from, I forget what it was, what they said it was, but they have such a big influence, and a bigger influence than people think they do, because they set the standard for great music. A lot of music nowadays is stupid and bullshit, and it's just all about breaking up and stuff, and doing drugs and smoking and doing girls and all this stuff that for some people it might be fun. I enjoy being social, but music nowadays is fake, because it's not real like instruments or music. It's just all auto-tune and stuff, and that's why I hate Cardi B and stuff like that. And she's also so annoying. And a lot of these older acts, they so much more classy and have so much respect for each other and the music world industry, I should say, and the world itself. And a lot of people glow over how great they are, and it's just so annoying. And like the Jonas Brothers, like nothing against them, they're fine people. DNC, they sang Rod Stewart, which is phenomenal on New Year's Eve this past year or last year. And yeah, pretty sure that was not this past New Year's Eve, but the New Year's Eve before that. But like, they came out with the new single, I think at midnight this past school year, or in the middle, I think. And sorry there, but it wasn't interesting. Like I was never a fan of the Jonas Brothers to begin with, but I just like, okay, so like they made too big of a deal. Like it's like old music again, especially when the tickets are cheap for decent seats. Like I want to go, like I want to see Lionel Richie, even though it's a little farther back where I want to sit. I want to sing because he's phenomenal, and it's just unfortunate that, and especially a lot of these guys who I want to see that I like, they never play around me. It's always Philadelphia, New Jersey, California, Texas, Florida, warmer places. So obviously, yes. But like, I'm not going to drive to Philadelphia by myself. I'm not going to drive to New Jersey by myself. I'm not going to take the train by myself or the bus. It's just I'm not going to do that. So like I would love to see him play in Massachusetts or in Providence or Connecticut. It's places that are closer by. I can see. So we'll see. So I really want to see these guys. So hopefully I can. But well, I don't know if there's anything else really. I've been binge watching that 70 show. I really want to get through a lot of these shows before I start summer camp. I was supposed to work today. Actually, they had this little informational meeting, but I wasn't. They didn't name me, which is unfortunate because I've been really wanting to go to it because I love the job so much, and I recommend going to the summer camp. I'm not going to give it because I don't want to give it away. But because if this backfires on me ever, I don't want to get shit for it. But I love the job in the camp so much. It means the world to me. And a lot of people quit because it's boring or they don't enjoy it anymore or the kids are too much. And I just, I want to be there for the next 3 years, maybe 4 years. And I'll go to every informational meeting you need me to go to. That's available to and from the parents and stuff because I don't think like freshman counselors or even really all the sophomore counselors should be going because freshman counselors don't know how to run the camp, run a game, watch over kids, be in charge of a group of 6 or 7 or 4 or 8, whatever it is, or sign kids out or in, or deal with an emergency. And I think someone like myself who's been there the longest out of all the actual camp counselors, because I'm the assistant site supervisor for both camps and really the site supervisor for the extended camp. And I know how to do stuff, and I think I should go because I bring experience and parents have actual questions, in-depth questions. These first-year counselors aren't going to know how to do it. Or even some of the second year. I'm not downing them. It's not their fault. It's just they don't have experience yet. Like, the camp hasn't started, so they don't know what to do. But whatever. I'll be ready for July 1st when it starts. I know without that being said, I think that's this is a good spot to end this episode number 4. We're not going to take it. I'm shooting the breeze with the big guy. Yours truly, me, the big guy, big Nolski over here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I know not a lot of people have been watching this, but whoever is watching this, like, subscribe, share with your friends so they can watch it so I can get a lot of views because I want to make it big on YouTube, baby. I want to make it huge. Be the next star, hopefully. I enjoy doing this. So thank you for listening. Episode 4, can't believe it. Episode 5 tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow will be Thursday. Episode 5. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye bye.